What's going on, everybody? Today I wanted to go over and showcase to you the 1033 Traffic Advisor control box. Kind of go over how it's used, the wiring, how to wire it up and set it up depending on what bar that you have, whether it's a wheeling bar, federal signal, or a code 3 Traffic Advisor. Today obviously I've got 4 of them lined out here for you. You've got the back of the box itself, which is your outputs, so it has all the pins labeled. Just look at the instructions just above. So you got pins 8 through 1 and then 4 positive terminals. You got your fuse adapter here. Your fuse is just a basic 10 amp fuse that just slides right in. As long as you don't put it in crooked like I just tried to. And then you have your input, power, and ground. So you have your volts DC positive and then your ground on the bottom lug. Kind of self-explanatory, really easy to hook up and put together. On the front side is where you have all your controllers, so you can control whether you flash, center out, right, or left traffic advisor, and then it gives you the directional indication here, whether you're flashing, center out, traffic, right, left, and all that, so you get a visual of what's going on there. Your power switch, turn the power on and off, and then you get your different buttons down here. So if you have a dual color bar and you've got it set up for that, that's what you'll have multiple outputs for, multiple outputs there for. Pattern selector, so you can go through and choose the different patterns as it's lit up, so you can get different configurations. And then your dim function, which you can dim down the traffic advisor if you so desire. When you get one of these controllers, everything obviously it comes with is obviously the unit itself. That's kind of self-explanatory. But you also get a few connectors. You'll have your main power connector for your ground and positive terminal. That just clips right into the back here. You hear a nice little click. Boom, you're good to go. Now you will get this adapter pin here. That will be for your traffic advisor controller. Now, bear in mind, your light bar has to be a negative pin assignment traffic advisor, meaning, in a nutshell, when you pop the bar open, you have one main wire for your positive leads, and then each individual wire lead is a negative lead to each of the light bar heads. If yours is one main wire for the ground and the rest of them are all positives, this particular device I do not believe will work on that, so you might have to go through and reconfigure some of your wiring, switch it up so that way instead of power it's now supplying ground, and use the positive leads as negative terminals. There is a way to do it. I've done it before. It just takes a little bit of time. So when you get this, the one thing you will notice is in your adapter, your little pin, there's nothing in there. No connections. What you will get is you will get your little baggie that will have the pins ready to go. So that way you can actually, if you want to do what I did here on this setup, run your own little jumper wires, crimp each of the pins to the wire, and then slide it in and slip it into the connector. And then from this point, it is difficult to put it in wrong, by the way, FYI. You have your locking pin there, locking pin up here on top, so it can only go in one way. You'll hear it click. So you'll have your one main power lead coming in, and then all your negative leads going to feed out to the individual wiring on the light bar to the heads to supply signals for the traffic advisor. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are curious to know, hey, I've got, a federal signal, blah, blah, blah bar, and I have a nice little collection, as you can tell. I've got a federal signal, yada, 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 or I've got a code 3 something whatsoever, whatever light bar configuration. Most of the light bars use a standard configuration wiring diagram. In regards to, they use specific colors to go over and say, hey, this particular color is configured for this head over on the very far left or far right or what have you of the bar. So this little diagram, and I'm going to make a copy of this and put this in the description so that way everybody will have the configurations of your wheeling 8 module light bar or 6 module light bar, your Federal Signal 8 and 6 module light bar, and along with your Code 3 8 and 6 module light bar. If you're using 8 light heads, this will go through and show you which head or which wire to connect to each particular head. So for example, on the Whelen 8 module, your first wire will typically be brown or white brown, red, white red, orange, white orange, and goes down the line, etc. You're going to match each of those wires with said specific head to the back of the box. So right where, for prime example, see where it says brown, white brown wire, white brown typically the negative terminal. That's on terminal 1. You're going to make sure when you put that wire in said connector, you're putting it in pin number 1. So that's going to be, when you match it up here, pin number 1 is going to be this pin right there, which is going to be that pin there. That's where you're going to put your first wire into. Then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just like it does here. So just keep that in mind when you're doing that. Other than that, like I said, fairly self-explanatory, but I know a lot of you are probably really concerned of, hey, how do I do this? Or, hey, how do I hook this up based on said light bar that I have? Here's your wiring instructions here, and I'll show you one of my demonstration light bars, how it's hooked up and the wiring and everything like that. Now, 6 head light bars. Now, obviously, this will work for 8 head, no problem. Just match them up. 6 head modules. Pin number 4 and 5, leave those blank. Do not have any wires hooked into said pins. Reason being, and I've made this accident before, where I've put everything from pin 2 all the way to pin 7. It just doesn't look right. It takes a while. Usually there's an end flash or a different pattern flash to signify, you know, head 1 or 8, and it just takes a while for it to go, oh, we're doing left, so it takes a minute to start up because it's starting on 1, and then it's just dragging forth, and then you see the light go out and it stops for 2 or 3 seconds. So if you have a 6 module light bar traffic advisor, leave pins 4 and 5 blank. Don't leave any wires hooked up. That way the transition going from 1, 3, 6, 8 is super smooth, a lot quicker, and you don't have to worry about any delays in your traffic advisor. So hopefully I had this up long enough for everybody to take a quick screenshot. Other than that, let's get down to showing you guys how I have one of mine hooked up. Show you some of the different patterns that come on it. I know one of my previous videos I had my Whelen Freedom LED light bar utilized. I'm going to showcase my Federal Signal Vista light bar. I'm just going through doing a couple extra goodies and upgrading a couple things on my Freedom. So let's get to it and I'll show you that. Alright everybody, so this is my Federal Signal Vista that I have pre-wired and set up ready to go with the 1033 traffic advisor controller. And you can see on the back how I've got all the wiring hooked up. So I've got my positive and my ground leads ready to go, along with the 6 wire configuration. There are 2 wires that are just hanging there, but again, that's for an 8 wire head system. Mine's only 6. So we'll go through. Now bear in mind, the flash option doesn't look quite as bright because I am using a halogen setup. If I had the LED, it'd be a lot crisper, a lot smoother. So all you have to do is, once you have everything wired up, just flip the power on. That actually looks way better on camera than it did just looking at it, but hey, that's perfect. So you can kind of get the idea. Then if you want, you can go down to the pattern select, and you can see the different patterns along with down below. So obviously if you're using this on your car, you're like me, your display, you can see what's going on right there like most other controllers are. So you just hit pattern select and it'll go through. Now here's where you can see the difference in the 6 head system. See how each is flashing back and forth in pairs, where you have my lights or your heads 1 and 2, and then 7 and 8 are flashing together in pairs, and the middle is doing its own thing. That's because, again, we left pins 4 and 5 blank, not hooked up to anything. So now we go through some of the different patterns. Now you can do this for each individual command. So if you want to do just your flash patterns, if you want to do your center out flash patterns, you can change those. And this is better to do one-handed. If you want to do your right or left traffic advisor. So I don't have anything hooked up to dim, but as you can see, you don't need to do anything there because you just hit dim. See how nice and bright that is? The control box has it built in, so it'll take care of that and send out less voltage. I think it's, I want to say 5 or 6 volts, half the voltage instead of a full 12 volts. Now, obviously, I don't have to worry about dual color because, well, I don't have dual color, so go away. But I can also go in, change the pattern. And continue on from there. But other than that, like I said, I hope you guys all found this nice and helpful for you. For some of you who have this particular traffic advisor box, for those who don't have it, if you have a light bar setup like this where your traffic advisor is not built in, for example, to any of the, like the Cat 5, where like the Federal Signal Legends or the Argent S2 bars, that you have a separate wire for the traffic advisor, this, in my opinion, is one of the best boxes out there, especially for all the multiple patterns that you get to choose through for your bars. Other than that, I will go through and once again show you guys the wiring schematics for different manufactured light bars. So hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you again soon. I got some more videos coming up soon, so we look forward to seeing you again. Thanks for watching, y'all.